What happens when you eat primarily potatoes for 10 days? Stick around to find out. You pick one starch, you stick to it for the 10 days, and you eat as much of it as you want. It's gonna be terrible or wonderful or a little bit of both. Oh yeah, that's a disaster. I can do this forever. I'm feeling a little off. I don't want to do this forever. I've gone up in weight. I don't understand this diet. I don't understand the weight fluctuations. I'm gonna try to make a potato cookie.
Not that bad.
The more you chew it.
It gets worse the more you chew it?
Yeah.
Greetings and welcome back to PB with Jay. Here on the channel, we focus on all things plant-based goodness. As many of you in the whole food plant-based community know, we recently lost one of our greats, Dr. John McDougall, who was the pioneer of many things, including the Starch Solution, which I know a lot of the people here on the channel follow. One of the earliest videos that I did here on the channel when I was still kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do in this space was a 10-day Mary's Mini, which is a program that was pioneered by his wife. For those that are unfamiliar with what that is, I'll explain it a little bit later on in the video, but primarily it's the kind of thing that a lot of people use to jumpstart weight loss, eating mostly just potatoes for 10 days. I put that out a few years ago as a 4-part series, but I thought to honor his passing, I would bring it all back for those of you who haven't seen it into one giant massive video. So in this video, I'm going to explain the purpose of it. Why would somebody want to do this? And what are the rules surrounding a Mary's Mini? And then you're gonna see me vlog my way through it and give my final thoughts. And as a bonus, you get to see all of us a couple of years younger. A couple of notes on this video. You're going to notice that I'm skinnier in this video. As I've mentioned in previous recent videos on this channel, there was a point in my weight loss where I took it a little bit too far, and this is during that point in time. We're all a work in progress, right? I've since then gained what I would consider the appropriate amount of weight back, and I'm also focusing on muscle gain, which is a lot of what I lost during my weight loss period. I'm not shaming my former self, that's just where I was at that point in history. But where I'm at now is what I would consider my best weight. That said, we are in the summer months here in the PB with J family, and I'm gonna be honest, we've been treating ourselves a little bit. So I am sort of considering doing a version of another Mary's Mini at some point in the future, just to kind of reset my palate, all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in seeing me do a new update on this kind of video, using whatever the new updated things for it are, let me know and I'll consider it. Wooly doesn't love the idea of me doing another one of these things, but Wooly doesn't get to make all the rules around here. She's not home right now, so I can say that. Couple other little notes. There are some points in this video where the music mix is a little bit higher than I would like. I couldn't fix it. I'm really, really sorry. Also, you're gonna notice me throw some recipes on the website Former Fat Forker. That was the old version of this channel. Those recipes, the ones that were good, are now on pbwithj.ca. Before we get into it, I'd like to say hello to some of you who've said hello to us in the comments down below. Deanne from Calgary, Alberta. Megan from rural Northeast Nebraska. Michelle from Seattle. Carrie Britton from Clayton, California. Debbie from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Angelica from Sweden. Mirandia from Lethbridge, Alberta. Lisa Marie from Lansing, Michigan. Sandy from Taneytown, Maryland. Sarah from Germany. The Dutchman from British Columbia. And Bonnie from, I'm not entirely sure where Bonnie's from, but I know where she's from on the internet, and that is our Mighty Network, which is a community of like-minded individuals who don't yuck each other's yum. You can get this t-shirt on our merch store. It's full of community message boards, you get early access to these videos, and the occasional giveaway and monthly live streams. And you can get all that for the price of a crappy cup of coffee a month. All right, let's get into the Mary's Mini. There's something that I wanted to try that I've read a lot about and I've seen other people do, and it's called a couple different things. It was called by Penn Joliet. It was the potato diet. It's also famously known as this thing called Mary's Mini. And it was designed by this woman named Mary McDougall, who is the wife of John McDougall, who wrote a book called The Starch Solution. And he talks about how the myth of carbs being terrible is simply not true. It's a good read. Check it out. Lots of people have tried this. Penn Joliet wrote his book Presto all about it. He lost 100 pounds and he started with this process. Our friends over at Crocs in the Kitchen did this. You can watch their potato videos as well, and they've done the Mary's Mini a few times. So there's lots of people that have tried this. So what is a Mary's Mini? Basically, you pick a starch and you make that your primary food for 10 days. What are the starches that you can use? Potatoes, sweet potatoes, pretty much any root vegetables except for carrots, beets, turnips, corn, winter squash, or whole grains like oatmeal or rice. Probably a whole grain pasta would do too. That would be interesting. Just spaghetti for 10 days? My 10-year-old self would have goddamn loved spaghetti for 10 days. But here's the trick to it. You're only allowed one starch for the 10 days. So if you pick potatoes, that's the only starch you can. You can't go back and forth between potatoes and sweet potatoes or rice or pasta or oatmeal. It's one starch to rule them all. Thanks, Gandalf. Now there's no limit on the amount you can eat. Eat as much as you want. Eat until you're full and then stop. Try not to overstuff yourself. And that's part of what I want to do too, is really get good at listening to my body for when I'm getting to the point of being full. And that's the kind of thing I think all of us could learn how to do probably a little bit better. Eat till you're full, not stuffed. If you get hungry between meals, it's totally okay on this thing. But you gotta eat the starch. So if you're hungry, if you want a snack, you gotta eat a potato or a bowl of rice or whatever it is your starch is. Now I know what you're saying, holy shit, I can only eat that one thing the whole time? Yeah, if you want to be a purist and do it that way, you probably could, especially if you're using a potato or a sweet potato because there's enough nutrients in there. You can get away with just that. That said, for the Mary's Mini, they allow condiments and they allow some vegetables in there too. Here's some ideas of condiments you can add to your meals. Vegetable broth, salsa, mustard, ketchup, sriracha or hot sauce, nutritional yeast, soy sauce, a tomato sauce without any sugar in it. Here are the foods you can't have when you're on this thing. No fruit. That's going to be the hardest for me because I start my day pretty much with a bowl of fruit salad and some grains on it. So no fruit for me for 10 days is going to be probably the hardest part. No processed sugar or substitutes. No processed grains like crackers or bread. No gravies or sauces with flours. No beans or lentils. No nuts or seeds or nuts or seed butters. No avocado. No coconut. No chocolate. No tofu. No alcohol. Obviously no animal products if you're still eating that kind of stuff. No oil of any kind. So those are the overall rules. You pick one starch, you stick to it for the 10 days, and you eat as much of it as you want, and you can include those sauces and those other foods that are on the okay list, and you avoid the ones that aren't. So why the hell am I doing this? Well, I kind of want to do a bit of a spring cleaning for my body. It's not like I need to lose any weight, although I will say that I think I've kind of like bumped up a little bit because we've been eating extra gorgeous, lovely plant-based treats over this isolation. And I'm curious if my body should be stable where I am at right now, or if it gets stable, if I go down a couple pounds and I can maintain a stability there. And if I don't, if I drift back up, I'm 100% okay with that. That's just the way my body's supposed to be, and I accept it. I'm still within a healthy range. I also wanted to try to like reset my portions and just see if I'm eating too much food as well, because I enjoy and love the food that I eat, so I probably eat more of it than I need to sometimes. So I want to use something like this to really get used to listening to my body for when it's full, and not just keep on adding stuff into my mouth because it tastes good. I also just think a general reset of my palate will be good to eat bland food. That's kind of the point of this. It's supposed to be bland and boring and repetitious. You're allowed all those extra sauces and other vegetables, but you shouldn't be trying to make super gourmet meals on this. It should be the idea that the food is kind of boring and bland, and you just eat enough to get yourself full, and that's about it. So you can go crazy with a lot of recipes, but that's not really the point. If you just want to eat the same simple stuff every day for the 10 days, that's totally fine. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I'm also terrified. I think it's going to be kind of fun, but I bet you after day 1 or 2, I'm just going to be like, potatoes suck so bad. I'm going to do white potatoes. I was originally going to do sweet potatoes, but I decided not to because I love sweet potatoes and I don't want to hate them. And I think regular white potatoes are bland enough that it won't bother me one way or the other to have them, where I feel like a sweet potato has a much more distinct flavor that if I get sick of that, I won't want it for a long time. And I do not want to not want sweet potatoes. So I picked white potatoes, which I think is like the standard thing most people do. Who knows, maybe in the future I'll try this again and I'll do it with rice or oatmeal or something like that. If you've done a Mary's Mini and you have any tips, please send them over to me. Throw them into the comments below or just reach out to me on social media. I'm curious to talk to anybody who's been through this experience. I'm going to try to do my best to keep it bland, keep it simple. I got a couple of recipes I'm going to try. I'm going to make a soup tomorrow. I'm going to make a double batch, and hopefully that gets me through a few lunches. But other than that, I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. And I'll show you what I'm eating and tell you how I'm feeling as I go along. I have no idea how it's going to go. I know that my regular breakfast, which is basically a fruit salad with some grains on it like granola, or just plain rolled oats or oatmeal, along with, you know, nuts and dried fruit, is not going to happen. That's my usual breakfast, and I will not be having that at all. So that's already going to be a shock to the system. So let's see how this goes. It's going to be terrible or wonderful or a little bit of both. Before you see me cleanse my body with potatoes, let me tell you about a new partnership that we have here on the channel. We're cleansing all of our bad, non-eco-friendly products. And that's with a new company called Eti. For those of you that have followed us, you know that we are all about getting into sustainability products whenever possible. And what I love about this company is that they have everything from food wraps, various cleaners, deodorants, as well as toothpaste type things. They've sent us a bunch of products, and not only are we loving them just for the quality of the products, but I love that they come with packaging that is not full of plastic, it's recyclable, it's eco-friendly, it's sustainable. The soap stuff we got is condensed, so you actually need far less than most people would think you would need. This is the kind of company we've been looking for a long time, and so we're really, really happy to have them as a partner here on the channel. If you'd like to see what Eti has to offer, you can use our exclusive link in the description down below to get 10% off whatever you would like. All right, let's see Foreign Jeremy eat some potatoes. All right, it's day one and time for the weigh-in. And as I've mentioned on the site in a few places, I recommend doing this first thing in the morning after you go to the bathroom. I'm in a bathroom. And ideally naked, so you can get a good baseline. I won't show you that part. Let's weigh in. Alright, that's where we're starting. 186.2. So one tip that I read that I was going to try was batch baking potatoes, just to get a bunch done at a time once, because they take a while. However, I bought them in a giant bag, and they didn't really come in huge sizes. It looks bigger than it is. It looks like the size of my head, but actually, there we go. It's actually fairly tiny. I found 6 that are like this. These are the biggest ones. I mean, these are good for chopping up for French fries or something, but for a baked potato, I'm a little disappointed. But we're gonna make do. I got 6 of these guys. I'm gonna cook these all at once. These are the biggest ones I could find in 2 bags of russet potatoes. We're gonna make it work. So we're gonna cook these at 375 in a convection oven for 50 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes, and we're gonna flip them over about halfway through. That's what the interweb told me to do. We're gonna try it out. I don't know how many of these I'm gonna eat, so I'm making 6, and we'll see. I doubt I'm gonna eat them all, but then I'll have some for later. Meal 1. So I'm gonna start with 2 potatoes. I know I can put stuff on them, but I also thought I'd start pure, the way that Penn and Juliet did and other people do, where it's just potato, nothing added, nothing taken away. At least the first potato I'm gonna do that. I might cave and put something on the second one. I also wanted to give myself a baseline to see how many potatoes it took to fill me up. So I'm gonna start with 2 and see where I go. So 2 potatoes down. As you noticed, I caved. I totally brought out some salsa and some Dijon. That was delicious. Was not expecting that to be as good as it was with the potato. So I don't know, that's like 300, 350 calories in terms of potatoes. I'm gonna give it a few minutes and see where I end up, and I'll let you know if I ended up going back and eating some more potatoes. I made 6, assuming that I might eat as many as half of them and then save some for later, so we'll see. I had a 3rd potato. I think I'm full now. I'm not sure. There could be a 4th potato in my future. We'll find out. So it's lunchtime. I'm gonna whip up a quick soup that's based off some recipes that I found online that I tweaked to myself. So it's basically gonna be, I'm gonna make a giant pot as well because I want this to last me most of the week, if not all the week, but we'll see how far it goes. So I'm using 2 onions, 4 carrots, about 4 or 5 ribs of celery. I used a whole package of broth, so 4 cups, 2 cups of water, a can and a half of diced tomatoes. I'm using about 8 large potatoes. I had to estimate because they're not all the same size. A teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of chili powder, dash in some salt and pepper. So I'm gonna let that boil for about 15 to 20 minutes until the potatoes are cooked through. Then I'm gonna transfer about, I don't know, 6 ladles of it to an Instant Pot to puree it and make it a bit smoother. And let's see how it turns out. The soup turned out pretty good. It's got a nice little spicy kick. I added some hot sauce and some nutritional yeast to it just to give it a little extra flavor. But I really like it. I'm gonna start with 1 bowl and see where I end up. So this is the end of day 1. I did really well. I made these amazing French fries for dinner that I had with a salad. Probably some of the best French fries I've ever had that didn't have oil on them from an oven. Seriously, great. And I didn't feel deprived. I did pretty good. I didn't have any sugar cravings. We'll see how I do the next couple of days without having any fruit. I'm sure it'll get to be a struggle as I go along, but so far so good. Potatoes are awesome. They taste good. So, yeah, so far I feel great. Tomorrow, let's see how that goes. Down 0.2. So my weight's down technically, but it's a negligible amount. I mean, it's kind of the amount it would fluctuate normally anyway. I feel like I have regular energy, like I normally would. I'm a little hungry, but I'm always a little hungry when I wake up. But let's do a little workout, and then we'll make some hash browns in the sandwich maker, and hope we don't screw it up. So this is a super old sandwich maker panini press that I'm using to make hash browns. I have no idea if this is gonna work. I'm not using any oil or anything. I'm just hoping it doesn't completely stick to the surface. I don't think it will. And at the same time, I'm going to saute some mushrooms, some kale, and I don't know, broccoli maybe? All right. Woo-hoo! Oh my God, look at that. Huh? No oil. Yay! I'm very excited about this. Breakfast discovered a brand new favorite, potato omelets. It worked great. And then after, I had the idea that what I should have done was use that and fold it up into a sandwich type thing. So I'm gonna try that tomorrow because why not? Had the soup again for lunch, still super delicious. Had like a bowl and a half, and that seems to be the right perfect amount. And then for dinner, I made some cheese sauce. So this is what you gotta do. You're gonna take a pound of potatoes. If you wanna skin them, go right ahead. I did not. I left the skins on because extra nutrients. Same with the carrots. Take about 2 or 3 medium-sized carrots. Skin them or not, your call. If you don't have an Instant Pot, just boil them for like 10-15 minutes. But put them in an Instant Pot with a cup of water. Put that on for 12 minutes on manual, and then let it sit for another 10 minutes after that to naturally release. Then get the steam out, and then let it sit for like 5 minutes just to cool down a little bit. Throw that into a blender. Put in half a cup of the potato water that is sitting at the bottom of the Instant Pot. Throw in like a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, or a little bit more if you want the flavor. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. 1 tablespoon of whole grain mustard. If you don't have whole grain mustard, regular ballpark yellow mustard will do. Or Dijon, whatever you got. Throw some mustard in there. a half a teaspoon steeping of turmeric, about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of onion powder. I didn't have any garlic powder, but if I did, I totally would have thrown that in. Blend that until it's smooth. It's gonna be super thick and it's gonna pour out really nice, as you see right here. This makes a ton. So if you make this at the beginning of a Mary's Mini or just make it in general, put that stuff in the fridge. It'll last quite a long time. I'm gonna throw that on top of some potatoes that I already cooked. So if you wanna reheat baked potatoes, throw them in the oven at 350 for like 20 minutes. That's all you need. So for this meal, it's just gonna be my baked potatoes, my cheese sauce, and some steamed frozen vegetables. And that's my dinner on day 2. Haven't snacked at all, really. Haven't felt the need to. My energy levels seem the same. I feel like I'm getting a sense of when I feel full. I'm still trying to figure out how much to eat. I bought a bunch more potatoes today. The tricky part is that when the kids see me make something, they want it as well. Like my potato omelet. Holy did they both want that. So my daughter had one and she loved it. And I think my son's gonna have one tomorrow. I'm sorry it's not as dramatic as you were probably hoping. Keep watching. Maybe tomorrow's a show. So down a pound this morning, which is nice, but still not inconsistent with my normal weight fluctuations. It's not uncommon for me to go, 2.5 pounds a day up and down. So we'll see if this continues, but it's nice to see it's continually going down. This isn't bad at all. I can do this forever. I don't want to do this forever. I miss fruit. So I just finished my workout, and I gotta say I'm a little more tired than I normally would have been. That said, it was a big cardio fitness burn thingy, so maybe that was to do with it. I don't know. I just felt like I had slightly less energy. But that's kind of to be expected, probably. I don't feel weak or shit. So let's see. I'm gonna do my hash brown omelet thing again, but I'm gonna make it into kind of a sandwich with, I think, mushrooms and peppers and kale and onions. And my cheese sauce. Throw a little salsa on top of this bad boy, if it'll let us, and then we're gonna try to fold it over. Wish me luck with that. It's all gonna spill out and be messy, but that's okay. Oh, look at that beast. So I'm gonna try to take a bite of this. I have the knife and fork ready, because I don't think it's gonna work. I don't even know how to grab this damn thing. Ready? Yeah. That's really good. So I ended up cutting it. This is a far more civilized way to eat it, kind of like an omelet. I'm feeling a little off. I don't feel sick or anything like that, but like I can feel like the potatoes are just kind of sitting in my stomach. And it's that weird feeling where I'm like, am I hungry or am I like super full? I don't know what I'm feeling right now. So this is definitely a little bit different than the last 2 days. I felt more or less normal on those days. Feeling maybe a little lethargic. I don't know. I'm gonna try to go for a walk. I'm gonna try to walk this guy. Hey Rufus, gonna go for a walk? Yeah? So let's see how I feel a little bit later on. I'll report more about the end of the day. I just had soup, the same old soup again for lunch, but I also made some potato chips in the microwave, which was super easy to make. I just skinned them with a mandolin, put a little bit of salt on them, spread them evenly on a piece of parchment, microwaved them on our microwave was 4 minutes until they were a little brown. It's a nice little trick. The thing though to keep in mind though for the Mary's Mini is that the more water you take out of the potatoes, the higher in calorie density they are. So potato chips are a lot higher in calories than like baked potato would be, because the moisture's been kind of zapped out of it a bit. So if you're gonna do potato chips, just have one as like a snack for fun. Don't eat a plate full of them. That's not the best way to, especially if you're trying to lose weight on this thing. I had some pickles and some carrots, and that seemed to help me out. And then by dinner time I was fine. I just kind of whipped up some baby potatoes in the oven. I threw some tomato sauce in there with some steamed vegetables and nutritional yeast and a side of beets, and it was perfect for me. Really, really tasty. And I ate way less baby potatoes than I expected to. I had a 1.5 pound bag, and I thought I'd probably eat the whole thing. I ate about half of it, so I'm probably gonna have the rest of those for breakfast tomorrow. Now I'm starting to feel like I bought too many potatoes, because I think I'm eating a little bit less of them, but we'll see. I mean, potatoes don't go bad, so that's a good thing. Anyway, day 3 in the can. Woo! Down another 0.2 pounds, which again is arbitrary. So since the beginning of this thing, it seems that I'm down like 1.5 pounds, but that's just fluctuation weight. Although it keeps on going down, so that's interesting. Anyway, that's part of the experiment. Workout energy seemed fine this morning. I'm gonna whip together a quick breakfast by thinking. I'm gonna use my leftover roasted potatoes from last night, the little ones. I'm gonna smash those into the sandwich press, and then I'm gonna make a little like scramble hash thing in the frying pan. I'm gonna put some onions, some peppers, mushrooms, and some spinach in there, and then I think I'll throw in some salsa and my cheese sauce. Get it all gooey, mix it up, then throw the potatoes in with it. Just had a hot bath, which I often do in the mornings after a big workout just to relax my muscles. I feel weird. I feel kind of like lightheaded. I'm going to attribute a bit to the diet because it's a combination of, I think, diet. I was probably already a bit warm, and then that. I had this a couple times when I was losing the weight. I got a little bit lightheaded. I knew I overdid it. So I think moving forward, I'm just going to keep the workouts to like light yoga in the morning, some stretching. I don't want to overexert myself, and probably no more hot baths. Probably just like a regular quick shower. I think I'm going to do that because I'm feeling a little crappy right now. I was fine when I woke up. Ooh, day 4. I thought day 3 was going to be the show. So far, day 4 is taking the lead. My weight is exactly the same, which is fascinating to me because I had a rather large bowel movement this morning, and also, doing a rough estimate of my calories yesterday, they weren't much more than 1,1600. I had a workout, I went for 2 big walks, so my body's hanging on to some kind of water weight or something is all I can think of. But again, I'm in this for the kind of the fascination of it. I'm not annoyed. I know a lot of people have lost a couple pounds at this point. I also know I don't have a ton of weight to lose. So yeah, I'm more curious than anything. I forgot to check in at the end of the day yesterday. The rest of the day went good. I had a really simple dinner of baked potatoes. I scooped out the insides and put tomato sauce, my cheese sauce inside them, then mixed them back up, and then put it back in, and then just had some sauteed vegetables with it. Nice and simple, which is what this is supposed to be. Maybe I'm getting a bit too fancy with the food, but I don't think so. Anyway, let's see. I'm trying a variation on my omelet this morning, my little hash brown omelet. And make almost like a burger version of it. I'm gonna put my cheese sauce on, whole grain mustard, some pickles, and then my veggies on top. I'm gonna try that, to switch it up for funsies. Alright, so I'm gonna whip up some of these oil-free fries for dinner. Pardon my kids, they're in the background on screen time. So yeah, cut up like 8 small to medium potatoes. Cut them into wedges and boil them for about 5 minutes on the stove. While you're doing that, while you're boiling them, turn the oven on to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you're gonna put your spices together. You can put whatever combination you want. I suggest like a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, paprika, chili powder, and I threw in like a very heaping teaspoon of nutritional yeast. So after the potatoes boil, you're gonna drain them and then throw them right back in the pot. And you're gonna sprinkle them with all of your spices, put a lid on, and shake them up. This is the most important part. This is how you get them nice and crunchy. Then you're gonna spread them evenly over a layer of parchment or a silicone pad if you got one of those. We don't at the farm, sadly. You're gonna bake them for 20 to 25 minutes. And then you're gonna smash them in your face because they are delicious. Look at that. Look at that crispy, crispy potato. Hear that crunch? Use whatever sauces you want. Ketchup, mustard, barbecue sauce, hot sauce. I like to put malt vinegar on. If you got like potato-based cheese sauce you want to try or something like that, or you can keep it really simple. They taste good on their own too. A little bit of malt vinegar, perfect. Put some veggies on the side. This is a perfect Mary's Mini meal. So it's the end of day 5. How am I feeling? Pretty good. I didn't get lightheaded today. I didn't overheat or anything like that, so that was good. I didn't feel weird in the afternoon. My energy was pretty good through the day, although I'm really tired now. It's only like 10:30 at night, and usually I'm up until 11:30, 12, so I'm definitely tired. I don't know if that has anything to do with the Mary's Mini or if I'm just tired. Sometimes it happens after I stay up late for a couple of days in a row. Weight-wise, I haven't lost anything. Not really. I mean, I've lost technically 1.5 pounds since I started the Mini, but the day before the Mini, I was down less than I am now. So I've just been kind of fluctuating the way I normally do. My wife was making fun of me today because I was talking about all these other recipes I want to try and play with when I get back to Toronto tomorrow. Because she pointed out, and she's not wrong, that things are supposed to be bland. And even though I've been following all of the rules and using only the ingredients that are compliant, I have been trying to make them tasty. But I don't think I've been overeating. I've been really good about listening to my stomach and stopping when I am full. So if I overeat at all, it's maybe by, I don't know, 20, 50 calories at most. I mean, this food just doesn't cost that much in terms of caloric value. So I think I'm okay in that realm. I mean, I'm curious to see what happens in the next couple of days. I feel like that's where I'll start hitting the sweet spot if I'm going to lose any weight. But again, this journey was never about me like losing weight the way I know it is for some people.
I've gone up in weight? Are you f***ing kidding me?
I don't know, maybe I have been overeating potatoes because they taste good. But I don't think I have, and I haven't been having any fats or anything like that, so the whole thing is bewildering. Although, it's telling me that maybe my weight is fine where I'm at, and that I'm just maintaining, I don't know. I was expecting to like shed a couple pounds on this thing. You know, I'm only halfway through, and I dedicated myself to doing it, so let's do it. I had my hash brown omelet this morning because we were leaving the farm, and I don't know if my waffle press will make it very well here, so I decided to have that one last time just in case I can't have it again until I go back to the farm. In which case the Mary's Mini will be over for me, and I probably won't want that for a little while. Although I imagine I'll have that again at some point. It was pretty good. My wife made a comment last night, made fun of me about how I was kind of going through recipes and looking for fun stuff to cook over the next couple of days. And reminded me how, you know, the point of this is to keep it simple and bland and whatnot. And so I took that to heart today. So we're back home in Toronto. I'm gonna keep my lunch simple today because my wife made fun of me, and she's probably right. So I'm gonna have some leftover baked potatoes. I think I'm just gonna put maybe some mustard on them, maybe some malt vinegar, and then some raw carrots or something, just really, really simple, and just listen to my stomach today. You're probably thinking the idea of eating a baked potato cold is pretty gross, but the one thing that's a benefit, and this can work on any of the starches you're on if you're doing the Mary's Mini, the idea of resistant starch, which is essentially cold starch. What's good about it is it can lower your insulin levels or raise them, one or the other, and it basically makes it so you stay satisfied longer. The food takes longer to kind of go through your system and burn out. So it's good for that way. It helps promote weight loss, I think, if you can handle the starch cold, that is. So something you might want to throw in there here and there. So I'm gonna keep on keeping it simple today. I made a giant pot of mashed potatoes. I think I'm gonna throw some salsa on there, maybe just a little bit of tomato sauce, some nutritional yeast. And then I have some steamed vegetables that I'm gonna maybe put a little balsamic vinegar on, but that's about it. Keeping it simple, because I was making it too fancy apparently. I'm kind of bummed that my weight went up a little bit, although it's just normal fluctuation. I'm still down from where I started, but that was up from where I started before that. So the whole thing is interesting and fascinating to me. I'm down. I'm down 1 pound from yesterday, or more actually, I think. Again, the fluctuation, but I think it's finally kicking in, the little bit of weight loss that I was expecting from this. I wasn't expecting a ton, but I was expecting to shed maybe, I don't know, 1 to 3 pounds in total. So let's see if that goes. Yeah, I'm feeling good this morning. I'm feeling tight, and I've been working out every day, so I'm just gonna have like a light morning stretch and then try something new for breakfast because I've been doing the same thing for pretty much every day. This morning, I'm just gonna put together like a really quick roast potato scramble. So I have some, and the waffle maker's ready. I'm not having those though. The rest of the family is, bastards. So I'm having, I just put some mushrooms and onions in a pan. I'm gonna throw some spinach in there. I'm gonna top it with some salsa. And then I have some just cut up mini potatoes in the air fryer, cooked them at 390 for 10 minutes, and that was enough. I put them on for a few more minutes just to get them a little bit hot. I'm gonna throw them in the pan, throw the salsa in, mix it all together, throw some nutritional yeast on top, and that's gonna be it. I think it's gonna be good. It's lunchtime. I'm gonna try this recipe that I found online. It's called puffed potatoes. I'm taking the mashed potatoes from last night that were left over. I'm just gonna mix 3 cups of that with like a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. I'm gonna roll them into balls, mash them up. Here's a tip: if you wet your hands, it helps make the balls a little easier and they don't stick as much. Put them in the air fryer for 10 minutes. If you don't have an air fryer, you could probably do them in a convection oven around 400 for 12 minutes, 15 minutes. Try that. So I ended up cooking them for about 12 minutes in total in the air fryer. I'm also gonna have them with some marinara sauce, and I made up a little salad of mostly just veggies: lettuce, carrots, snap peas, a pepper, and I'm just gonna make a really simple dressing of mustard, apple cider vinegar, and balsamic vinegar, and some no salt seasoning. And that's gonna be lunch. So for dinner, I'm gonna whip up this roasted potato salad that's inspired by something that is in the Thug Kitchen cookbook, which is an amazing cookbook. If you haven't checked out Thug Kitchen, God, those guys are geniuses. So I made a completely different mixture than they did. So first of all, you're gonna wanna cut up some potatoes. I use baby potatoes. You're gonna want about 2 pounds worth. I threw them in my air fryer. I put them in for about 15 minutes at the highest temperature, which is 400 in mine. I shook them a few times throughout. If you don't have an air fryer, you could cook these in an oven, a convection oven, for 400 for probably around 20 minutes. Check it out as it's going along. It might be a little bit longer or shorter. You want to get them nice and browned. And then for the sauce, here's what I did. I mixed together half an onion with 3 cloves of garlic, a tablespoon of cumin, chili powder, and paprika, a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar, 1/8 of a cup of lemon juice, and 1/8 of a cup of water, and a tablespoon of whole grain mustard. Then I mixed that up inside of a magic bullet. If you didn't have a magic bullet, you can just stir the hell out of it. If you don't have a magic bullet, you're gonna wanna chop up the onion really, really fine, and the garlic really fine as well. But if you have a magic bullet, it makes all the difference. When the potatoes are ready, toss that inside of it, and then let it sit out and just let it marinate over the day. You're gonna wanna make this in advance so it can sit and really soak up the flavors. Store leftovers in the fridge. I don't know if this is getting easier or if I'm just getting used to it. My energy was good all through the day. I didn't find I got hungry before meals at all. Usually, like right before the meal, I'm ramping up for it, but I felt pretty good. Like I was hungry enough. I wanted to eat, but I wasn't desperately hungry. That was good. I think I'm definitely curbing my need for snacks, which is great because I usually find an excuse to have something mid-afternoon or late morning. So I'm glad for that. Tomorrow I'm going to try to do a more intense workout. I haven't done my weights. We're back at home now, so I have my big setup here. So I'm going to try to do some weights and stuff, and hopefully the food sustains me and I don't feel weird from it. And if I do, well, I'll course correct. 184. So I'm definitely down now, and I did not have a bowel movement this morning. So that tells me I'm losing weight on this thing, which is a nice added bonus, as I've said. So, yeah, I feel good. I feel normal. I'm gonna try a bigger workout. I'm at home, so I've got my little weight set up. It's not much. It's like a dumbbell, a medicine ball. I've got some stretch bands in the house, a yoga mat. That's really it. I was going to the gym for like a year or so, and then I realized most of my workout I could just do with my body weight or with like a couple pairs of dumbbells from home. So I really recommend that if you want to get into home workouts. There's some great channels out there. I really like HasFit. You can take their things free on YouTube, but you can also pay a very small fee to have their app that helps you track things. I also like Sean Vig Fitness for yoga. There's also Yoga by Adele or Adrenaline. I don't know. Look her up. She's got like 2 million followers. I'm sure you know who she is. And that's part of my daily routine. I do something, small or big, every morning. So I'm hoping I have enough energy to do this workout. It's a weight workout that's apparently burning 400 to 500 calories. So that might do me in. I'll let you know later on how that goes with all of this. So workout was good. It kicked my butt and I was tired at the end of it, but that's kind of normal for a big workout like that. So for breakfast, I'm taking leftover mashed potatoes. I took about 3 cups. I mixed it with 1/3 of a cup of nutritional yeast. I threw a little bit of water in there just to bring back the mashed potatoes. Threw them in a waffle iron. I'm gonna see how long it takes to cook. I'm still cooking them, so I don't know yet. My thought is I'm gonna top them with a couple cups of peas. Because I had a big workout, I want some protein, and peas have a ton of protein. That's why they use the pea protein in Beyond Burgers and all those kind of products. So, and then I think I'll top it with like a mixture of my cheese sauce and marinara sauce heated up. And that'll be that. That'll be my breakfast. So it's been 10 minutes for the waffle, potato waffle. I'm a little nervous, but let's try it out. Oh yeah, that's a disaster. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can't salvage something out of this. Breakfast did not go as planned. I was hoping it would work just like the one at the farm did, where I didn't have to use any oil, but clearly this one would have needed it. You know what? That breakfast didn't turn out nearly as bad as I thought it would. It was still crispy and crumbly and great. So just instead of being like a waffle with stuff on it, it became more like a scramble, but it was still good. I obviously won't make it again. But these things happen. Experiments in food. Lunch today is going to be super simple. I'm just going to have my leftover roasted potato salad, and I'm also going to make like a big salad to go with it. Someone was asking me the other day what I do for a salad dressing that doesn't have any fat or anything in it. So all I literally do is put together a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of mustard, some no salt seasoning. I mix that together and I put it over everything, and that's it. If it's too thick for you, add a little more water, but I like it as a basic dressing. But add any other spices. You want to kick it up, throw some chili powder or cayenne pepper in there or something like that. It's good to go. I didn't feel crappy at all today. I felt really, really good all day. In fact, by the time it came around to making supper, I wasn't even really all that hungry. But I felt a little bit backed up. I took the dog for a big walk while my dinner was cooking in the Instant Pot. And then by the time I came home, I went to the bathroom and then I was ready to go. Sorry for those details, but I think it's kind of important that I went from being not hungry at all to going to the bathroom and then being like, I need supper. And so what I made was this really simple potato curry that I found on Plant Gal's website. You can see it here. I'll also put a link below to give her a shout out. It was really simple. It was just basically potatoes, carrots, cauliflower, veggie stock, some curry, and fenugreek. Cooked in the Instant Pot. The whole thing was ready from the time I started chopping veggies to the time it was in my mouth in less than an hour. So it was kind of a perfect meal. Really, it took 10 minutes to throw together, and then the Instant Pot spent the next half an hour doing its job. So if you're looking for a really quick meal that you can just throw in and walk away from and come back to later, this one's great. And it made a ton. Like I said, I wasn't super hungry, so I probably ate less than what a portion would have been. But it's great. I mean, I'm sure it's going to last me like a soup would for the rest of the Mary's Mini. So it felt good. There's 2 days left,
and I don't feel like there's a problem at all. My weight's gone down, so that's interesting too. I haven't had any cravings for snacks, so far, so good. 2 days left.
As you probably saw from yesterday's video, the bathroom scale sucks at showing up on my camera, so I just weighed myself. And I'd love to lie, but I'm about back up to 185.2, so 1.2 pounds overnight. I don't understand this diet. I don't understand the weight fluctuations. I also did a big workout yesterday, a muscle workout, so maybe my muscles are retaining fluid. This whole thing is bizarre to me. But yeah, so there's that. So for breakfast, I'm just gonna throw together a really simple thing. I'm gonna roast some baby potatoes, steam some vegetables, slop on some salsa and nutritional yeast. And that's gonna be breakfast. Yay! So after breakfast and after my shower, I felt a little off. My workout didn't go great this morning. I felt tired throughout it, and I switched from this HIIT workout to just power yoga. And that seemed to be okay, but I was definitely lacking energy. I also haven't given myself like a full rest day from workout, so I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Day 9. One more day to go after this. I can do it. I can do it. So out of sheer boredom and kind of a challenge for my kids, I'm gonna try to make a potato cookie. So I'm gonna take spices that I would normally use for like carrot cake and throw some shredded carrot in as well. Basically what I did is I made mashed potatoes. I used 2 russet potatoes. I steamed them in the air fryer for 6 minutes. And then I just mashed them with water. If I wasn't on the Mary's Mini, I would probably mash them with something like oat milk or almond milk just to make them a slightly bit sweeter. I put in 2 teaspoons of cinnamon powder, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a healthy pinch of cloves. Mix that all together. Put in a cup of shredded carrot, 1 carrot did it. Then I scooped it into 1/3 of a cup measurements. I wet my hands to help flatten the patties out a bit more and just to get them flat. Putting them in the fridge for an hour just to get them to firm up a little bit so that they'll hold the shape better. And then we're gonna air fry them. We're gonna try air frying them at 390 for 10 minutes and see where that gets us. I want them to be crispy and hard, that's for sure. So I'll let you know how that turns out. So for lunch, I'm just gonna reheat the soup that I made last night. It actually got thick, so it's more like a dal now, that curry, which is still tasty. And the cookies looked crisp, but I think I'm gonna make them super crisp. We're gonna put them for another 5 minutes in the air fryer. I still don't imagine they're gonna taste good, but my family wants to try them. They're gonna hate them. Hey, what do you guys think?
I have not tried them.
What do you think? Wait. Oh, mommy's going for it.
Me too.
Just put it back.
Not that bad.
The more you chew it.
It gets worse the more you chew it?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna try it now.
Oh!
One for each of us.
I want one.
You have to have
It's not, it's pretty bad. It's about as bad as I thought it would be.
Do it for April Fool's joke.
I bet you if you put some maple syrup on this, it wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah.
But that's,
Do it
that
for
was a,
April Fool's joke. April Fool's joke.
you can make, yeah, because they look pretty good.
No, I want something else.
You can tell someone this is like an oatmeal cookie of some kind, and they probably believe it.
Yeah.
Then you have fruit.
Ugh.
You know.
Failed experiment. So I'm just keeping it simple for dinner. Again, I decided to make my fries since my second last night. I couldn't resist making those fries one more time. And then just some beets, cauliflower, and a salad. That's all I'm gonna do, nice and simple. Day 9 was not so bad. Tomorrow's the last day, and I gotta say I'm looking forward to returning to the world of regular food. The one thing that was bizarre was my weight went up a fair amount. But again, fluctuation. And I'm starting to think that it's like, I mean, really, I was looking over Dr. Joel Fuhrman's Eat to Live stuff.
And I mean, the food I eat is not far off of this. I have a couple nuts and dried fruit and that kind of stuff added in, and fruit itself. But, you know, I think I'm not far off the way I'm eating now anyway, which is probably why my weight's not shifting. And again, it didn't need to. I was just curious if it would, doing this cleanse. So, yeah, all fascinating. So tomorrow's the last day. I got this. I got this so hard. So the bad news is that my weight went up to 186, which is pretty much where I started. The good news is I know exactly what happened. I had 2 big workouts over the last 2 days with weights, which I hadn't been doing while I was at the farm. And I'm carrying water weight, and my muscles are inflamed or something. So today is my rest day anyway. I'm just gonna do a little bit of really light yoga just to stretch because I'm also stiff as hell. But I mean, maybe that'll make a difference tomorrow. I'll do a final weigh-in on the morning after day 10. But yeah, again, I'm not flummoxed by it. It's just all part of the experiment. So I'm just having my usual lemon elixir in the morning. It's just hot water with squeezed lemon and about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of turmeric. I have that every morning. It's a good little detox cleanse to have first thing before you have anything else. Air fryer is whizzing in the background. We're gonna have some roasted baby potatoes, just like yesterday, steamed vegetables. Today I'm gonna put tomato sauce on and some nooch instead of salsa. That's about it. Keeping it simple on the last day. So for lunch, keeping it super simple, I'm just gonna reheat that potato cauliflower curry dal thing that I've been eating. I'm also having just some leftover beets and some peas and carrots. Simple, simple, simple. That's the way I was supposed to be doing it. I was reading up on the Mary's Mini Facebook group, and they kind of recommend just 1 potato type, simple, little to no sauces, and 1 vegetable per meal. I haven't exactly been doing that. I've been making it a bit fancier. I don't think that's what's causing my weight to not go down. I think I didn't really have that much weight to lose to begin with. And also, it's the workout I had and workouts I've been doing, you know, inflammation and all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm not really getting myself bent up over it. It's still been an interesting exercise so far. 1 more meal to go. I'm prepping for my final meal, and I've decided to be a little romantic about it. I'm gonna go back to the beginning and have just baked potatoes, nothing added, nothing taken away. Now the first time I did it on day 1 and for breakfast, I added some salsa and some whole grain mustard. Today I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm just gonna do baked potatoes. I decided to do 3. It's about just around 500 calories, I think, if I eat them all. I'm just gonna have that. I'm not gonna, no salt, no pepper, no nothing. Just pure, beautiful potatoes cooked in an air fryer. So how do you cook potatoes in an air fryer? Well, you get them wet, you stabby them a little bit, put them on for 400 degrees for 40 to 50 minutes. Check them, and then if you want them to be a little crispier, then do that. But that should be about enough time. So day 10 complete. I feel good overall. I never got sick of potatoes, which maybe tells me I didn't do this properly. I should have maybe made the meals a little less fancy so that I would be more mundane and monotonous and ate probably a little bit less. My weight did not really change according to this morning, but I still have my last weigh-in tomorrow morning, so stick around for that. Oh, I'm excited for this. I haven't necessarily been craving sugar the way I thought I might be, but this is my usual breakfast. It's just like a fruit salad with flaxseed, oat milk. Oh, I'm excited. I'm gonna try to get everything in this first bite. That's even better than I thought it was gonna be. Oh! It's so nice to have something sweet again. Now, let's see what the final weigh-in was.
So as you can see from my final day 11 weigh-in, it looks like that weight that I had added yesterday was just the inflammation I thought it was, with water storing in my muscles. So how do I feel? I feel great. I mean, I also have sugar coursing through my body because of that breakfast. It's not something I'm used to. I probably should have eased back into this, but I've been fantasizing about that breakfast for a long time, so screw it. So what did I get out of this? So here's the thing, I'm not a typical candidate for this kind of thing, because this is meant to be for people who are coming off of like the standard sad American diet where they're eating lots of fast food and lots of crap. I wanted to see how this would affect somebody who already eats a pretty clean and healthy diet. And so what were the things that I got out of it? Well, I kind of found that my snacking has decreased. I am pretty much only eating my 3 meals a day. And if I start snacking at all, it's probably around 4 o'clock in the afternoon while I'm getting dinner ready. And that is 3 to 4, that's 3 hours, 4 hours after lunch. So it's within the window. They want you to try to not eat for 3 to 4 hour periods at a time throughout the day. So I'm just considering that more of an appetizer to dinner when I say I'm not snacking. So that was a really good thing because I was almost planning these like little mini snacks throughout the morning and in the early afternoon, and that has almost completely disappeared. So that was a big plus for me. Because I wasn't allowed to have beans and that kind of stuff, I realized that I don't need to add protein to make something feel like a full meal. So that was a really nice added bonus to this. It's kind of opened up more options for me for thinking about lunches and quick dinners and that kind of stuff. So I really, really appreciated that. What about weight loss, you ask? Well, I didn't really lose any weight. My weight's basically the same as it was pre-cleanse. And that's okay, because part of this experiment was, am I at the right weight for the kind of foods I eat in my body type and all that kind of stuff. So that stayed the same, and maybe that's okay. That said, at the end of this video, I'm going to explain another thing I'm going to try, just because I'm still a little bit curious about that. Personally, I think I didn't keep it simple enough. I'm a bit too much of a food nerd, and I like to experiment with different kind of food challenges. So I took it as an opportunity to play around with some recipes. As you can see, I discovered some great stuff. Making crispy French fries, those are now like a staple in our house. So there's some fun stuff I discovered along the way, but I should have kept it more simple, and maybe that would have resulted in some weight loss because I probably wouldn't have eaten as much. So here's some tips for people who are thinking of doing one of these cleanses for yourself. Keep it simple. Honestly, just eat the bare minimum. Eat like just plain potatoes, a couple vegetables, very basic condiments. Don't go crazy with it. If you want to do the full thing, what you're supposed to be doing, don't go fancy with the recipes. Batch cooking is your friend. If you're gonna bake potatoes, they take about almost an hour to do. So I would do 6 to a dozen of those things at a time because they're really easy to reheat once you've done them. Batch cooking vegetables isn't a bad idea either, although those are a little bit quicker to prepare. Frozen vegetables are great. They're really easy. You can steam them really quickly or put them in the microwave. They're a quick, fast treat to get. I overheated a few times. Like I'd have a hot bath in the morning, and I found because of probably the lack of proteins and maybe some fats in my diet, I think I got overheated and got a little dizzy and fainty. So I would recommend not overheating while you're on this thing. Let people know you're doing this, your family in particular, so they can support you, or at least know you're doing something a little crazy and strange and not get in your way. Also, there's great Facebook communities out there where there's other people doing this. You want people that are going to hold you accountable and that can hold you up and that you can ask questions to. You don't have to do this alone. Maybe you can get a friend or family member to do this along with you. That would be ideal. At the end of it, it's 10 days. You can do anything for 10 days. Just suck it up. Trust me. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for joining me down this trip through memory lane. If you'd like to see an update on this kind of a video of me doing another sort of Mary's Mini in the future, let me know and I will greatly consider it. Don't forget to use that Etsy link to get some sustainable products for yourself. And if you haven't hit that like button or subscribe to the channel, what are you waiting for? Do so you can get more videos like this. Speaking of which, YouTube wants you to stick around to watch this video next. I think it looks interesting to you. I don't know. I mean, you've stuck around this long. What's one more, right? Or add it to your watch later. You do you.